Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome you all to the lecture video session on directing and controlling. After understanding the organization structures, let's move on to the very interesting topic of the session, directing and controlling. So Arnsdale defined the directing and controlling. Arnsdale defined the directing is as it is about telling people what to do and seeing it to do the best of their ability. It helps in the process of instructing, guiding, counseling, motivating, and guiding the people in the organization to achieve their targets, achieve the objectives. So, if you see this image, we can understand that the directing is a key to the managerial function. And directing involves four main activities. The first main activity is the communication. Communication is about issuing the orders and instructions to the subordinates. Communication is about maintaining the cordial nature among the employees. Communication is about right amount of instruction that is to be given to the subordinates. Communication among the employees to maintain the interpersonal relationships. So the next main activity of the direction or directing is the leadership. Leadership revolves around the guiding, helping and advising subordinates towards accomplishment of their work. So guiding the people towards achieving the objective, helping the people, making the handhold and then helping the people to achieve the objectives and advising the subordinates to how to do and what to do, when to do to accomplish their work is the leadership. And the third one is the motivation, inspiring the subordinates always to achieve the goals. And without the motivation, it is not possible for the subordinates to keep achieving the goals. So, motivation is a very, very important factor of directing. Supervision is another one which is going to control the activities in a right way, in the right time, and the right manner. Supervising the subordinates to work towards the plan is the most important part of directing. So, the nature of the directing or the features of the directing are the nature or the features of directing. It can be explained as directing involves a human factor. Directing involves a human factor because directing basically means that to deal with the human resources, to understand what needs to be done, and it involves the management of human beings. So the directing aims at creating the cooperation among the human beings, and it always brings in the harmony among the employees. So it is going to bring in the harmony in the group of employees so that they can work achieving the objective and they can work together in the right speed. So the reality is not always it is not always going to be the same as it is expected. It is not easy to achieve the same at all the time. So the motivation factor is going to be the one which is going to help the people to work together and to meet the expectations of the management. So the people are always interested in achieving their own objective. Individual objective comes into the picture, wherein the group objectives always goes to the back end. So the function of the directing always makes sure that group objective comes first rather than the individual objective. So it is always important to direct the people to make sure that they are going to achieve the success in making the group objective as the main focus. So it is therefore becomes a challenge to the manager to keep the employees or the subordinates always motivated to make the group objective as the main factor, not the individual objective, and individual objective should be the sub objective. So they should not be diverted from the group objective. So directing always involves the human factor. So the directing is always a continuous function. Why do we call it as a continuous function? Directing is a dynamic one. It is not the static one. Dynamic nature always involves the continuity. So the continuous activity of the managers is the direction, that is giving the direction to every employee to do the best of and to meet the timelines. So it is an ongoing activity, we can say, and it is an ongoing activity of the managers, and managers are expected to direct, to guide, to teach, to motivate, to lead their subordinates. So the directing always is a continuous function. So the manager's responsibility is to direct, to guide, and to teach and to motivate the employees from time to time. So we can see that there is an interpersonal relationship which is going to be there as one of the factor, which is going to be one of the function of the directing. So it provides a link between the senior management and the subordinates. So staff on one side and the other side is the top management. So the coordination will always be there through the proper direction of the employees. And directing by the directions by the top management will be carried on to the lower level management, which will be successfully carried out by the managers through the proper directions. And the directing always concentrates on the performance, and the directing concentrate on the performance means it is a creative function. Directing is a creative function. So once it is a creative function, it can make the things to change, and it can make the things to happen in a right way with the right amount of creativity in the work, which is going to save a lot of cost, lot of time, and it also gives a kind of pride to the team, which is going to bring in lot of improvement in the process. So the directing clears the doubts of the employees, and it gives them a conviction, it gives them the satisfaction that the work is carried out in the right way on the right time, and it will make the things to go forward. And without the proper direction, it is not possible for anybody, for any subordinate to take it in the right way, in the right direction. So the managers are very much involved in directing the people who are going to be involved in the process. And directing is all pervasive. It means that directing is an activity at all levels of the organization and across all the departments. So for example, in an engineering college, the management directs the principal with respect to the objectives and the policies of the organization. The principal in turn will convince the HODs to translate them to the subordinates, and then into the departmental activities. Through the departmental activities, HODs will be able to meet who will be able to transform the policies into the department objectives, and once the department objectives are met, then collectively the principal is going to meet the objectives of the organization through the policies that are enforcing the employees to meet through that. And principal will be discharging the duties, HODs will be discharging the duties in the right way, and then the subordinates and the faculties and then the students will be able to perform it in the right way to meet the objective of the departments and the organization. So this is how exactly the supervising activity will be carried by the management to the principal, to the HODs, to the subordinates like employees, the faculties, teaching and the non-teaching staff, as well as the students. So directing is all pervasive. So next one is nature of directing is harmony of objectives, unity of the command, direction of direct supervision by that is the nature of the directing, and then the efficient communication to all the people. So the important principles of the effective direction is that principle of harmony of objectives. Everybody should think about the same objective, and that is the principle of harmony of objective. Principle of scalar chain, principle of unity of command. The command that is given by the senior management will be transformed to the lower level people through in a unity of command. That is, everybody would work for the same command, and everybody would be able to bring in the expected result. Principle of unity of direction by the management and by the middle level managers. Principle of effective communication from the senior management to the middle level management and to the lower level management. Principle of direct supervision by the first line managers to the subordinates, and middle level managers to the first line managers, and the top level managers or the top level management on to the middle level management and the lower level management. And principle of effective leadership. The CEO of the company or COO of the company will be able to handle the effective leadership if every line manager is going to work for the expected result or the expected outcome and to the growth of the organization. Principle of follow-ups. Without the follow-up, it is impossible to expect the kind of command that is going to be carried out at each level. So the principle of follow-up is very much necessary for the complete So the follow-ups are very much necessary, and for these follow-ups every day there could be the set of objectives that could be rolled out to the employees, and then we need to understand with every employee that what is impeding their progress in the respective work that is assigned. Again, by the end of the day, if they can collectively collect the total amount of work that is done in terms of percentage or in terms of the number of deliveries that are happening on the day-to-day basis, then they will be able to understand where the progress is stopped and they will be able to correct it. So with this, we understood about the important principles of effective direction and the nature of the directing, and I'll see you in the next video on the next function, that is the leadership that is connected to it. Thank you everyone. See you all in the next video on leadership.